Independent radio stations nationwide say a dramatic hike in broadcasting fees has sent shockwaves through the sector. They're calling on the Media Minister Patrick O'Donovan to intervene over a 39% increase in the broadcast levy used to fund the independent regulator Comisiún. The Independent Broadcasters of Ireland says it represents a hike of tens of thousands of euro for stations already battling tight margins. And joining us now is the IBI's Chief Executive, Michael Kelly. Michael, good morning to you.
Good morning, Alan.
Michael, that 39% rise, how significant is that in real terms for independent radio stations, and what will it mean for them on the ground?
Well, unfortunately, it means that they'll have a lot less money to put together all the brilliant services that they provide to people from Donegal to Kerry and from Clare to Louth. The increase in real terms for our smallest stations in the independent sector, it would be an increase alone of about 12 to 14,000. And for medium-sized stations, it's an increase of anywhere upwards of 30,000. And then for the larger stations, obviously hundreds of thousands. And the difficulty with this, Alan, is it came out of the blue. There was no warning. There was no meaningful consultation. We were never asked and are told that they were thinking of doing such an increase. And literally people got a letter at the end of March and they were told pay up by the end of April.
And Michael, how does that...
that's a really difficult one.
Yeah, how does that rise, stack up against... I presume there were rises from other broadcasting sectors contributing towards Comisiún.
Yeah, and that's the really difficult thing for us to understand. There have been increases in the costs that Comisiún has for all sectors, and they work out at roughly 18% across the board. But we're paying 39% this year, and when you add in what we paid additionally in an increase last year, we're now paying 69% more than we paid 2 years ago. Now, there's no small or medium-sized enterprise in Ireland, and I know there's many in County Clare who'll be listening into this. There's none that could sustain that kind of increase in a state-mandated charge on their business.
And look, obviously, the levy funds Comisiún, and I'm sure you accept the need for regulation, but has any reason been given by them or the department on why there's such a significant increase for independent radio stations?
Yeah, and we don't dispute the rights of Comisiún to be independent, and we don't dispute their rights to obviously have funding. However, I suppose our difficulty is what they've said to us is that they're doing more regulatory work to put more obligations on us, and that costs more money because they have more staff. And they also said that they have obviously bigger shared costs because they now have a huge job of regulating the large multinationals, and we're having to pay our share of that as well. So the difficulty with all of that is we've been regulated for 30 years, and never in that time was an increase of this level either contemplated or imposed on us. And we would say we haven't suddenly got more difficult to regulate since Comisiún came into operation. We were already very strictly regulated by the IRTC and the BAI and all the other regulatory bodies that used to just regulate radio. So we don't believe that there's a need to spend a huge amount of extra money regulating what is a very tightly regulated sector. And I was looking at the regulations that we have in radio, and we have about 26 or 30 regulations that apply to us that don't apply to the social media companies or the web giants or to any other media, in fact. So we appear to be, it's only ourselves and RTE and Virgin seem to be the only regulated media that really have these huge burdens on us. And now in the radio sector, which is what this 39% applies to, we're now being charged 1 million more this year than we were charged last year, and that's applied to RTE and to all of our 33 stations around Ireland. And we're stations that depend fully and only on advertising, so we're very different to RTE, and we're very different to the newspapers, and we don't have any other source of information of advertising or revenue except advertising, and that's what we're being charged. And it's unsustainable, it's unaffordable, and it's going to cause huge damage to our sector, we believe.
Where do you go from here? Indeed, I suppose all of us go, Michael, because I mean, you've called on the Media Minister, Patrick O'Donovan, to intervene. However, the department says he has no role in setting the levy, so it seems like there will be no intervention. So what are the next steps?
Well, I suppose the point I would make is that there is precedent for ministers to intervene on this very levy. And the last time that was done was in a similar circumstance to what we're in now, an international financial crisis, which we're in now because of what's going on in the Gulf, and which we were in during the COVID times. And at that time, the then media minister did temporarily lift the levy. Now, what we're looking for is just that consideration would be given to not having a 39% increase, given the amount of damage that's going to do to our sector, and given that means that's money that we can't spend on the content and all of the good things that we like to do to provide, trusted information, good sports coverage, entertainment, connection, all of these things for people. And it's less likely we'll be able to do that as much as we'd like if they're just going to take huge chunks of money out of our businesses.
Well, needless to say, we all will be watching this with great interest to see what happens next. But for the moment, thanks for filling our listeners in on it, Michael, and thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you, Alan.
That's Michael Kelly, the Chief Executive of the Independent Broadcasters of Ireland.